This time around, you people are no longer the problem. Black people are no longer the problem. Black people are no longer the issue. The issue now is black people are now more privileged than white people. How? White people are coming out to say that black folks are more privileged than them. And I keep asking myself, where is this privilege coming from? Or am I the one that is actually not seeing this privilege? Please, if you're watching, let me know, especially as a black person. How are you guys privileged? I'm still confused. I can't wrap my head towards it. But let me know if that is true so that I can accept the reality that black people are more privileged than the white folks. And it's the white folks that is actually coming out to say all of this, right? If you're also watching this as a white person, please be sincere and let me know in the comment section. Do you think that people that look like me are actually more privileged than you? In this society that we are, in this country, in what we are seeing? I don't know. Let me know in the comment section. Welcome back again to the channel. My name is Sonia. If this is the first time you're tuning in, do subscribe, like this video, drop me your comments, and lastly, do not forget to share. Credit belongs to original creators of every clips and stitches we're going to be using in our today's episode. I'll go ahead and roll out the clips I have for you guys so that you guys can actually watch and see why these people are saying people are more privileged though. And then I'll be back with commentaries. Let's go there, guys.
Black Americans are one of the most privileged people in the world, and we have to talk about it more.
Bet, please do tell me how privileged black Americans are.
Here's the average salary in Mexico, in Ukraine, in Egypt, in Vietnam, all big countries with huge economies from different continents. And here is average welfare check in USA. You see the difference?
You missed already. I guess cost of living just doesn't exist. Cost of living in Mexico compared to the United States, Ukraine compared to the United States, Egypt compared to the United States, and Vietnam compared to the United States. So while we can just say, oh, these are very big economies and look at the difference in wage compared to the welfare checks, we must take into account how much money it actually costs to live in a given society in order to determine whether or not these things are disproportionate. And given that in every fucking country you just mentioned, the cost of living is so much lower than the United States, you can understand why the difference is there. Also, this video is supposed to be about how privileged black people are, but the first thing he talks about is welfare checks. Also claiming that a group of people are privileged because a welfare check was set at an amount that's higher than another country's wage is fucking dumb, considering the people that live in the country with the welfare checks are considered poor for that country in that economy that they need to live in. So saying, oh my god, you're considered poor here, but you wouldn't be in a different country is as dumb as saying, oh, you were just raped. Well, guess what? People have died, so you must be privileged.
People all over the world have to work hard for this money, while people in America are getting more for doing absolutely nothing, just because they are born in the United States.
Miss number two, it would be a damn shame if the majority of people on welfare are actually working. Because, oh yeah, while we can complain about how high the welfare checks are compared to other countries, it isn't even enough to live in America off of, which forces people who are even working full-time to still work a job while being on government assistance. Again, because while we can play Oppression Olympics, context matters.
Now just imagine being born in Harlem, New York, one of the richest cities in the world, in one of the richest countries in the world, and complaining about not being able to get out of the ghetto, while some Middle Eastern refugee has to smuggle himself to America illegally in a cargo bay of the ship, not having home, not having money, not having citizenship, just to get the slightest chance at life that you had since birth.
It's a damn shame you don't even realize how stupid this just was. Level 1, let's talk about your logic. This essentially boils down to don't ask for anything more if you're already receiving more than somebody else. Which, for obvious reasons I would hope, makes zero fucking sense. That Middle Eastern refugee who had to smuggle himself on a ship in order to make it to America has it measurably better than a Southeast Asian kid who will live and die in the same village buried under plastic and trash from our pollution. Does that mean we should make no effort to make it so that Middle Eastern refugees shouldn't have to smuggle themselves into the country to have a good life? Does that mean that those Middle Eastern refugees should just shut up and acknowledge the fact that they're more privileged than somebody else? Fucking no! And if you say yes, then you're counteracting everything your entire video is about. Hence why Oppression Olympics is a dumb game to play. Level 2 of why this is stupid. Let's run the actual numbers. Seeing as you mentioned refugees coming to America, let's compare them to black people in America. Again, context matters. After 5 years in the United States, refugees have a median household income of $22,000. After 15 years, that grows to $37,000. And after 50 years, it grows to $67,000. Black people in the United States had a median household income of $30,400 in 1970. 51 years later, that number is $48,297, which means if we run the numbers on that, in the same amount of time it has taken refugee household income to grow by $45,000, black household income has grown by $17,897. So if I wanted to stoop down to your level and assume that money, devoid of all context, immediately denotes privilege, Who is more privileged in the United States? This very point is something that you go on to contradict yourself on 2 seconds later when you go on to say,
And please, don't give me that excuse about America being racist. Here's the list of richest households in the United States by ethnicity. White people are not even in top 5. How could they all be so prosperous if the country is so racist?
Bucko, I don't even think you realize what you're saying here. This is exactly why context matters, because I'm not sure what privilege you're trying to preach to black people about, when not only do all the other Americans make more money than black Americans, average Americans make more money than black Americans. Would you really make the argument that for any other demographic in any other country, them making less than what the average person in their country makes is them having privilege? No, the hell you wouldn't, which is why you try to bring it to a worldwide context, because as soon as you start talking about American context, you get blown the fuck out of the water and start trying to disprove racism by Obama.
Can you name any other dominantly white country that had black president for 2 terms in a row?
Who's gonna tell him that the next president started a rumor that he wasn't even born here simply because he was black? Now we can talk about how a lot of these immigrant groups you mentioned have higher rates of college degrees, which is something that is quite literally selected for prior to immigration into this country, meaning a disproportionate amount of them coming over with education already, which is why they make so much more than the native-born population. We can talk about how Asian Americans have not faced the same institutional barriers as black people. We can talk about Harlem and how you're apparently confused that many black people can't make it out the ghetto.
And you can't get out of the ghetto, really? Man, maybe take a subway?
When the city was redlined to high hell. East Harlem had the 7th lowest household income among 55 other New York neighborhoods, and almost 1/3 of households lived below the federal poverty line, and how it was literally the birthplace of the very Renaissance that was an artistic backlash to intense anti-black racism in the country. We can talk about the fact that while yes, slavery and racism exist in countries all over the world, the slavery that built the new world was chattel and racialized, which is something that was unique, that was not found in the Middle East, in Africa, or in Europe prior. But something tells me that if you don't even have the brain cell count to realize that you just made an entire video about why black people are privileged while using the same racist, factually incorrect statements that have been used since 20 years after slavery to justify why black people are in such shit positions, then something tells me you're not ready for that conversation. I award you no points. May God have mercy on your soul.
Black Americans are one of the most privileged people in the world, and we have to talk about it more. Here's the average salary in Mexico, in Ukraine, in Egypt, in Vietnam, all big countries with huge economies from different continents. And here is average welfare check in USA. You see the difference? People all over the world have to work hard for this money, while people in America are getting more for doing absolutely nothing, just because they are born in the United States.
Captain North Star, was that you? Yeah, I can't put your profile picture up here because TikTok seems to get bent out of shape when I put you bigots on blast. Let's get it. All right, I don't know where you get your stats from. You probably added a bunch of shit together that doesn't even go together, but let's try this first. In 2022, the last recorded year of completion, the average household received $243.43 from SNAP, which is welfare money given to families for direct dollar amount purchases. But here's another thing, while you're talking about privileged black people and welfare. The largest group of people on welfare, 36.5%, are white. Moving right along. Now back to this for a moment. There are approximately 65 million people in this country on welfare or some kind of assistance. And of those, as I told you, 36.5% are white, while 25.8% of the respondents were black, 16% were Hispanic, 1% of the respondents identified as indigenous people, and the rest is made up of other. And as far as those countries you mentioned of Mexico, the Ukraine, Egypt, and Vietnam, guess how many of them are on the top 10 economy list in the world? All right, number 1 and number 2 top economies in the world are China. Number 3 and number 4 are Japan and Germany. 5, the United Kingdom. 6, India. 7, France. 8, Italy. 9, Canada. And 10, South Korea. So what in the entire hell are you comparing the United States economy to? Countries that are not even in the top 10. And all of those other stats you're talking about, income, do nothing to put a dent in the fact that white Americans hold 85% of the total U.S. wealth, but only make up about 60% of the population, while black Americans hold 4% of the wealth and make up about 13% of the population. Put another way, the wealth of the richest 400 Americans is approximately equal to that of 43 million black people. You're just a bigot with an accent that think black people should be happy with the crumbs from the table that we built.
Black Americans are one of the most privileged people in the world, and we have to talk about it.
Go and watch Jay's video because it's incredible. But essentially, this guy's like, oh, well, look at all of these other countries and how much their citizens get. And then look how much welfare recipients get. $600. Therefore, black people are taking care of the welfare system, which is fucked beyond belief. And Jay calls out that he's not considering the cost of living. But the other thing that's really, really messed up about that is that he's equating black people to welfare. Just casually saying that, yeah, welfare means black people. Not everybody who's on welfare is black. And what's really frustrating about this is that these videos are designed to confirm these people's world beliefs, and it's very, very easy to just see something like that and just kind of accept it as truth because he's giving you numbers, and people really, really like numbers because they're tangible. But numbers can be, if you leave out the context of the numbers, then you don't understand the numbers, which is really important. I think videos like this to debunk these people are really important because without them, these people go unchallenged. So yeah.
So this is what you call black privilege. Go check out the video to this comment. And just so you know, crying racism is not going to silence white people anymore. We don't care anymore. We're over it. The white guilt era has officially come to an end, unfortunately for you. I really hope that your job comes across this video. Yeah, that would be nice.
Okay, listen closely to the words that come out of this girl's mouth.
It's so annoying how white people think that they could just take up so much fucking space.
I mean, I don't take up a whole lot of space. I'm just literally existing.
Whether that be on the sidewalk, on the train, when there's a crowded train, they'll leave their backpacks on, like.
Where else would they put them? Would you rather somebody take their backpack off and set it on a seat that somebody else could sit, or, okay.
Bitches leave their bags on their shoulder, you see.
Yeah, because if I'm taking public transportation and I need to get on and I have a bag, I want you to imagine that the roles were reversed. Imagine somebody like me, a white girl, got on here and said those kind of ignorant things. I would be shredded apart. I would be canceled from everything. I would probably lose my job. I would be banned from the double standard is unbelievable nowadays. I would never get on and say those kind of things because I don't have that mindset to think such stupid, hateful, racist things. Make it make sense, guys. How is it okay for some people, but other people get shredded apart and canceled?
I'm just a white indie author sitting in front of my camera, hoping to find readers that want to hear the white voice. All of my characters in my books are white. I wrote it this way because I have the white voice and I want to spread it. And so that you can learn about white culture and respect white culture. And I think it's really important because the white culture is just crapped on all the time. We hear things like, oh, you don't even have culture, and what is your culture? Just slavery? You know what I'm talking about because you've heard it.
You want us to respect not washing your legs and eating unseasoned food? That's what you're mad about? Being black is exhausting, and having to deal with racism is exhausting. A white lady came online and called a 5-year-old boy the N-word and got all this money. And now all of you racist grifters are out here trying to do what? Make money? We went from black fatigue to black privilege, and now this week we're on white people are being discriminated against. To not understand by saying you are a white author and you have a white voice and you're going to white people and you're talking about the white experience, why and how that's racist and how and why that's detrimental to the rest of us is the problem in this country. Majority of authors since the dawn of time in America have been white. Almost half this nation is not white, but almost all of the authors are white. In 2020, the publishing industry entered a moment of moral urgency about the persistent lack of racial and ethnic diversity among employees and authors. The industry is disproportionately white, and the canon of published books from trade publishers is overwhelmingly so. According to one analysis, 95% of American fiction books published between 1950 and 2018 were written by white people. While that analysis looks at a broad sweep of time, more recent figures indicate that both the publishing industry and the books it puts out remain disproportionately white. The lack of diversity in the ranks of publishing professionals and in works brought to the market are linked. In a cultural industry like publishing, where subjective interpretations of what constitutes good or marketable literature are a major determinant of what gets published, the whiteness of the industry staff has accompanied largely white kind of published authors. Not only is the United States a demographically diverse nation, as of the last census, an estimated 42% of the country are people of color. It also boasts a demographically diverse readership. The National Endowment for the Arts estimates that approximately a quarter of America's regular adult readers are people of color.
So then I think it's safe to say that white people can start asking for support as a white-owned business and a white author with white characters simply because we have been experiencing discrimination in America for years now. Jobs, colleges, scholarships, literary agents. That's discrimination. It's not okay just because it happened to black people 100 years ago. And I'm not even dismissing what they went through, but anybody my age and a little older and younger has not experienced that.
Newsflash, me and my cousins are the first people in our families born in America with full rights as humans and as citizens. My mother, who is 60, was not born with full rights in this country. This is their new one. White people are being discriminated against because they've never had to share space. And if black people can say they're looking for black-owned businesses, black-owned barbershops, then I'm gonna say I'm looking for a white-owned business. Newsflash, all the businesses are white. All the industries are white. All of the schools are white. My reality as a black man is that I exist within a white country. That is not even a white country. 42% of the people in this country are people of color, but you guys control 90% of everything. When people have never had to share any sense of equity, any sense of responsibility, and you've always been on top, when other people want something and they want to raise themselves up, you guys feel attacked. You feel like you're being attacked, when in reality is nothing's happening to you. You're still in control of the systems of power in this country. A white woman came on TV, came online and called the little 5-year-old the N-word and got all this money. And so now all of you guys are out here looking like grifters.
Black privilege is the most prominent form of privilege in America today, and we have examples to prove it. There was a large group of teenagers that ran through Chicago terrorizing the city. They were vandalizing, they were lighting cars on fire, they were attacking tourists and residents. They even went ahead and they attacked a white girl walking into her apartment building. About 30 of them started punching and kicking her on the floor as she was trying to escape violently. This is black privilege. And the reason why it's black privilege is because there is no major investigation going on. The FBI is not looking into this. There's no hate crimes being, possibly dished out. The mayor-elect actually said, we should not demonize this youth as they have been starved of opportunity. He is giving them excuses, ultimately enabling and encouraging this sort of behavior. This is privilege. If this were a group of white teenagers, the FBI would be working with the mayor of Chicago right now to make sure that there was a hunt, that there were billboards, that anybody that was involved was brought in, and that hate crimes were dished out, and that there would be riots and protests throughout the entire city and possibly every city in America. Black privilege is the privilege to be able to do or say something without having the same social ramifications as other races, especially as white people. That is what black privilege is, and that is what we are seeing. We are seeing differences in the way things are being handled, and it's not just social ramifications anymore. It's now legal precedent. We're seeing as Chicago is not handling this the same way that they would handle it if it was a large group of white teenagers. And again, we're also seeing in America where there was a young boy that was shot and killed because he went up to the wrong house. We don't know the full story, but that seems like what the story was. And an 80-year-old white man shot him thinking that the boy was trying to break into his house or trying to harm him in some way. There was also a couple of other stories throughout America at that time. There was a story of a white girl that pulled into the wrong driveway and she was shot and killed. Yet, we don't see the same media outrage. We don't see the activism happening. The truth is that this doesn't just happen to black people, it happens to all people. And yes, I understand that we should fight to stop all of it. Unfortunately, we have to live in a reality. And every time we point the finger and say, well, that's because of racism, all we're doing is we're further dividing this country. So why not look at a situation and say, it was really bad that that happened. This is the reality that we live in. Let's try to figure out ways that we could stop this from happening. But instead, people start rioting and protesting because they think that there's something that was unfair that's happening to an entire race of people based on one incident.
Welcome back, guys. After watching all of that video, to be honest, I don't know where those privileges are actually coming from. Like I said from the beginning of my clip, one thing I've seen is content creating has made people to just carry their camera, put on their face, and just wrap up whatsoever they want to wrap, even if the facts are not correct or even if the facts are correct. They just decide that, yes, it is just what I want to say, and they will start blabbering their mouth. That is one thing I've actually seen. Anyways, I actually went into my own research as well because I have been confused since I've been doing this particular research, and that is why this video was even supposed to go up since last week. I just said, no, let me just get more of my findings before I'm saying it. Because black privilege now, before you people said black people are the problem, now you people are saying black privilege. Like, where the heck is that coming from? I don't know. But anyways, let me read out what I have here in my research. Then I will say what I want to actually say. And like I said, this is just for educational purposes, right? And here, I did my research to know who is more privileged and if black people are even privileged at all. And this is what I get. In America, white people are generally more privileged than black people. And here is why. Historical foundation. The US was built on system, slavery, segregation, Jim Crow's law that placed black people at a disadvantage while giving white people economy, social, and political power. Is that not what is actually happening now? Is that not what we are seeing now? Who are the most influential, most powerful people in the economy? Despite the fact that some black people, yes, we know that there are some black people that are wealthy, but within the historical foundation that is built on segregation, Jim Crow, slavery, and so on and so forth, are we not seeing that these people are just coming here to try to like twist things to just fit a certain narrative so that it will look like the black people? Let me just continue. Many of these advantage like land, wealth, and general inheritance were passed down through white family. True or false? 100% true. Systematic advantage. 1. Education. Predominantly white schools often receive better fundings, resources, and opportunity. 2. Employment. Studies shows that job applicants with white surrounding names are more likely to be called black than equally qualified black applicants. Let me repeat it. Employment. Studies shows that job applicants with white surrounding names are more likely to be called back than equally qualified black applicants. I've actually seen a particular video where a black man said he has applied up to 4,000 jobs. 4,000 jobs. In that 4,000 job, he has successfully done an interview with just 20. None of them called him. None of them look at what the qualification he has. None of them. He has the qualification, he has every single thing. But these people are being taken, even if they are qualified or not qualified, for the fact that they have this particular race called whiteness in them, they will still be taken. Housing. Redlining and discriminatory leading practice historical denying black families home ownership opportunities, while white family built generational wealth through properties. Look into the real estate today in the US. Look into the percentage of the real estate. Who are the most people that are owning houses. I'm not saying that black people do not own house in US. They do own house, right? But it is not based on their privilege. It is based on their hard work. It is based on their sweat. It is based on what they know how to do best. Now let's go to the third one. Representation and social perception. White people are more widely represented in positions of power, government, business leadership, media, and culture. True or false? 100% true. We are seeing it. You can't even deny the fact, right? That you are not seeing it. Except you just want to come to the comment section and be like, it is a lie. They are less likely to be stereotyped negatively compared to black people, who often faced bias in policing, hiring, and public perception. And you still stand there to tell me that black people have more privilege or black people have black privilege. Where is that black privilege coming from? Please, I just want to know because I am still confused. Legal and justice system. White people are less likely to be stopped, searched, or incarcerated compared to black people, even when committing similar offense. I will repeat it. White people are less likely to be stopped, searched, or incarcerated compared to black, even when committing similar offense. Sentencing disparity, showing that black people often receive harsher punishment. I've seen a particular video, I think I did a particular video here, that a black guy actually, he wind down his glasses. The police officer said he was driving behind him, that he saw that he never wind down his glasses, his window glasses. A lot of videos that we've been seeing online. So is it not true? It is true. Everyday life. White people generally move through life without facing racial profiling, suspicious, or exclusion because of their skin color. This invisible case is a part of what is called white privilege. White privilege. I keep saying, white privilege is not when you have money. That is not what white privilege is all about. It is all about the benefit you are getting in the system that a lot of people that look like me are not getting. In conclusion, white people are more privileged in America because the system, structures, and culture of the nation were historically designed to favor them. Why progressing have been made, the effects of centuries of inequality still give white people advantage that black people often have to work harder to overcome. And someone will sit there and tell me that black people also have what is called black privilege. Let me know what you think in the comment section. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe, like, comment, and share. And credit belongs to original creators of every clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. And I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you supporting me. I do not take you guys for granted. And this is just for educational purposes, not to bash anyone. And guys, with no further ado, I'd like always say in my videos, I'm going to be saying bye. And I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys. Mwah.